when I think about an instance that really just struck me as, oh my God, we can do this. And that we can do it to anyone. Was that people at NSA, analysts, can actually watch people's internet communications, watch them draft correspondence, and actually watch their thoughts form as they type. As you write a message, an analyst at the NSA or any other service out there that's using this kind of attack against people, can actually see you write sentences and then backspace over your mistakes and then change the words and then kind of pause and think about what you wanted to say. And then change it. And it's this extraordinary intrusion, not just into your communications, your finished messages, but your actual drafting process, into the way you think.
DARPA has been named by several whistleblowers to be the leading innovator in trauma-based mind control. In 2002, DARPA announced their ambitious IAO program. The Information Awareness Office was set up to gather and store the personal information of everyone in the United States, including credit card and phone records. Following strong public criticism that the IAO was blatant mass surveillance, it was officially defunded by Congress in 2003. In the global surveillance disclosures of 2013, it was revealed that several IAO projects continue to be funded under different names. LifeLog. In its white paper, DARPA's Dr. Doug Gage stated that the objective of LifeLog was to trace the threads of an individual's life. LifeLog was going to require each individual user to voluntarily record everything they do in life, producing a unique timeline that would constitute an episodic memory. Out of this endless ocean of information, DARPA scientists would plot distinctive patterns, mapping out personal relationships, scheduled events, and researchers from DARPA's artificial intelligence sector would feed the data to their machines so the AI computers could study everyone's daily habits and make sense of it. Civil libertarians attacked the project when it launched, arguing the obvious privacy issues involved with having DARPA keeping such close tabs on the entire population. On February 4th, 2004, they announced the end of LifeLog. And on that very same day, Facebook was born. Within a few months, Sean Parker became the first president of Facebook. And according to his Wikipedia page, Sean Parker was recruited by the CIA just before finishing high school. As president of Facebook, Sean Parker brought on their first big investor, Peter Thiel. Around the same time that LifeLog was created, CIA investment group In-Q-Tel helped Peter Thiel form Palantir Technologies, a company that analyzed massive databases of public information used by the CIA and other offices of the U.S. intelligence community. Peter Thiel brought in investor James Breyer, who at the same time was on the board of directors for military defense contractor BBN, along with CIA-run In-Q-Tel CEO Gilman Louis.
But of course, it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? Mind you, by the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. But we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So there's a woman, she gets hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See a girl, looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she is knocked off. So our thoughts, are starting to be decoded. Yeah. Just think about what this means for authoritarian states, for instance. Or if you want to generate images that maximally activate your pleasure sensor or anything else. Okay, but let's keep going, right? To really get the sense of the combinatorics of this. How about, can we go from Wi-Fi radio signals, sort of like the Wi-Fi routers in your house, they're bouncing off radio signals that work sort of like sonar. Can you go from that to where human beings are to images? So what they did is they had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
My name is Dave Boyce. I'm a former naval officer. I'm a graduate of the United States Naval Academy. I have a degree in control systems engineering, and I worked in electronics warfare. While I was in the service, I found out about this targeting program. This is psychological warfare. This is a profession. This program deals with mind control and human-machine interface weapons. Well, we've gotten to the point with the modern computing that we're able to accurately depict basically all the senses of the body. You can take that raw sensory information and then process it into a way that it generally fits into any bioelectrical system. And so you provide a bioelectrical input to the body, and then that person will experience that physical sensation that has been recorded previously, information that can be played onto a person's bioelectrical system. And V2K is kind of a colloquialism for technologies that can provide auditory input into the body. Nowadays it's crystal clear interface with the human bioelectrical system. And then, but separately, the synthetic telepathy, that is the more advanced human-machine interface system that completely interfaces with the body's bioelectrical system. So not only can you get auditory information from that system, you can get gustatory, smell and taste, as well as full-on tactile. Every square inch of your body can be, they can, in the centers which perceive that information in the brain are stimulated, and you can create any, like we said before, it's a recording or live information of any sort of touch that you can imagine. With this technology, you can, just as sure as it feels like, you're being cut or burned or punched, or, they can create any, touch sensation with this technology. It's kind of a completely bidirectional system that could hurt you. They can hurt you while they talk to you and hurt you at the same time. So it's full-on torture with this system.
Technology called biocoded directed energy, and that's a top secret thing that was developed. And what it is they get your DNA. Once they have your DNA, they take the DNA and they put your DNA code in a supercomputer, and in that supercomputer they run algorithms that biocode electromagnetic transmissions so they bioresonate with your body. Once they've done that, they can transmit that from satellites or cell towers or aircraft or any number of ways, and that signal will only affect you and nobody else. In other words, everybody standing next to you is not going to hear the content because their receiver is not tuned to that bioresonance.
There's a bioresonance to every individual, just like our fingerprint. Every person has an individual DNA, a different bioresonance.
A complete DNA profile is obtained from the target, from the individual, the targeted individual. And then this information, the DNA of the individual, is used to determine the resonant frequency of the DNA itself. The resonant frequency is then used to fine-tune the technology, the radio frequency signals, the microwave auditory effect, and all of the other aspects of the technology to tune it perfectly to the resonant frequency of the targeted individual's DNA. And they can read your thoughts verbatim as they occur within your own mind. This technology can also tap into the optical nerve of the target and the auditory system of the target, so that those monitoring the target can see what the target is seeing and hear what the target is hearing.
The true control grid is this technology, voice to skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology, and it can all be done remotely. It can be done simply by targeting you with the frequency, locking into the resonant frequency of your DNA and your mind, and in that manner completely track and trace and control you 24 hours a day. Manipulate the emotions and the behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America, and it can all be done remotely.
Just like our fingerprint, every person has an individual DNA, a different bioresonance.
This was the perfect operating system for a supranational technocracy to use to control the levers of the New World Order. One of the most enthusiastic practitioners of this new system during this period of transformation was Pierre Elliott Trudeau, the newly imposed Prime Minister of Canada, who shaped a vast cybernetics revolution of the Canadian government. During a November 1969 conference on cybernetics in government, Trudeau said, "We are aware that the many techniques of cybernetics, by transforming the control function and the manipulation of information, will transform our whole society." Trudeau worked closely with Sir Alexander King in the formation of a new organization that had a profound impact on global governance from 1968 present, called the Club of Rome. Social engineering drives the post-war order. For those who may not know, Bateson was a leading controller of the CIA's MK-Ultra program, which ran from 1952 to 1973.
A horrendous crime against children that almost no one knows about.
Cybernetics for global governance. Forecasting the inevitability of systems of global information control, and thus total political control by a godlike governing class, as well as artificial intelligence, Wiener wrote, "Where a man's word goes and where his power of perception goes, to that point his control and in a sense his physics, Eichel existence is extended. To see and to give commands to the whole world is almost the same as being everywhere." The key to understanding the attraction of cybernetics to a scientific dictatorship desirous of total omniscience and omnipotence is the following: in the context of a large boat, only the helmsman need have an idea of the whole. Everyone else need only understand their local compartmentalized role. With the application of cybernetics to the organization of economic systems, as carried forth by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's Sir Alexander King and applied across governments of the transatlantic during the 1960s and 1970s, vast complex bureaucracies emerged with only small nodes of helmsmen embedded within the newly emerging deep state complex who had access to a vision of the whole. This was the perfect operating system for a supranational technocracy to use to control the levers of the new